Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and in this episode we're going to be taking care of something that's been plaguing the 350Z since I bought it: valve covers. Alright, so when I bought this car, obviously I had a little issue with the valve covers. There was some oil leaking. I could tell it was coming from the valve covers, so I wasn't too worried about it. They do make replaceable valve cover gaskets for this engine now, so hopefully it won't be too bad, but we're going to dive into it today, get this thing ripped apart, hopefully get the new valve covers in, and hopefully not leak any more oil. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so as you can see, I got pretty much everything off the top of the motor. I got a lot of the electrical moved out of the way. Hopefully it's enough to get these valve covers out. The left side's going to be a little tight, the right side's not too bad. But I'm getting to a moment right now. So I do a lot of research on these cars, and apparently a big thing is that the oil will leak through the valve covers into the spark plug holes. We're going to be changing the spark plugs while we're in here, but obviously I've never taken them out because most of them you can't even get to with the upper intake manifold on. So let's go ahead and pop them out and see if any of them got oil in the holes. So that's actually a pretty good sign. The only one that had a little bit of oil in it was the rear one on the passenger side, which I guess is number 6? 5? I think number 5. But anyway, so yeah, it's the only one, and it's not full of oil. It's just got a tiny little bit in it, so it must not have been leaking that bad, but that's literally the only one. So pretty happy about that. I'm going to try to get the coilovers back. I mean, the coils back in the same spots, even though it shouldn't really matter. But like I said, we're going to go ahead and put new spark plugs in here too. I'm curious to see what they look like, because so these are supposed to be iridium laser cut spark plugs, the really fancy, stupid, expensive ones. And that's what I'll be putting back in, because frankly, that's, you know, I don't know if it makes a difference, but that's what I always use in, you know, my performance cars. So we're going to be changing them anyway, and I'm really curious to see how they look. Supposedly they're supposed to last like 100,000 miles. I've taken spark plugs, iridium laser cut spark plugs, out of cars with 40,000 miles on them. Looked trashed. So I would assume these have been changed at least once, but obviously if it was recommended, it might, you know, who knows when the last time they were changed were. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they look like too. But I think what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to go ahead and try to get, I don't know if I can get more of this wiring out of the way in the front or not, but it would really help if I could get some of this wiring out of the way, because it's really tight here and there's a bunch of wires in the way, and I don't want a bunch of like crust from the wiring harness like falling into the valve, into the head. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get some more of that out, and hopefully by the time it gets dark here, I think we got about an hour left, hopefully we'll be able to at least get one of these valve covers off and see what the engine looks like, because again, this motor has 178,000 miles on it, which is relatively high for a 350Z. But it did come with maintenance records and everything like that when I got it, so hopefully they did actually take care of it pretty well, but we're going to find out here shortly. Well, holy stromboli, guys. So first of all, I was able to squeeze that left one out, obviously. This old gasket is hard as a rock. Like, literally so hard. It's freaking crazy. Bottom of the valve cover looks beautiful, but it's plastic, so what do you expect? But I'm super happy, because look at this valve train. Whew! Looks damn near brand new in there. Damn near brand new. Oh man, this gives me so much confidence in this motor now, because this thing is just gorgeous. I mean, there's no sludge in here at all. This is just oil pulled up in these little spots here, which I changed recently, so it's still pretty clear. We're going to change again after this, by the way. But yeah, I mean, I am stoked. That is freaking awesome. You can see even there's a piece of the gasket stuck here on the head. It's so freaking rotted. So obviously the little bit of the hard part now is going to be cleaning this thing up. So yeah, we got to get it all cleaned up and put the new gasket on and put the valve cover back on. And I did get OEM spec gaskets from Z1, so shout out Z1. And yeah, I think that's going to be about it for tonight. I might just go ahead and pull the other valve cover off, and in the morning we'll get back to it and get everything put back together. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so I spent some time this morning cleaning everything up. I got both sides really cleaned up. I got the valve covers cleaned up. Everything's good to go. So now I had a little bit of oil in my number 5 spark plug, so passenger side rear. It wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't even like above the spark plug. It was literally just a little bit in the bottom, so it wasn't leaking that bad. Theoretically, to stop that, you should replace the valve covers, because the seals around the spark plugs do not, they're not replaceable, so you have to buy new valve covers. But I don't have new valve covers right now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, so that one, the grommet inside of there is cracked, and also the one on the number 6 is cracked, but the number 6 didn't have any oil in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use black silicone, Permatex, not silicone, adhesive sealant, so it's basically gasket maker. And we're going to put a little ring around each one of the gaskets before we put it on, and you know, we'll see if that kind of fixes or helps our issue. It's not uncommon that they have oil in the spark plugs. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's also not the worst. So we'll just check them in another, you know, 500 miles, 1,000 miles, something like that, and just see what kind of oil we have in there. Also, even though there wasn't oil in number 6, number 6's grommet was also cracked. So yeah, you know, we'll see how this works out. If it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. We'll just have to replace the valve covers, which is what we would have been doing anyway. So there is also 4 little spots, 2 on each valve cover, that actually had RTV sealant on them, and that's going to be, I'll show you, right here on this little corner where the loop comes up, right here, and then same thing on the other side. And that's actually a pretty common thing, to put a little bit of RTV there. Whether or not these have been replaced before or not, I don't know. I don't really know. But anyway, we're going to be putting a little bit of RTV sealant back on those little corners and getting these things buttoned back up. Alright guys, after just giving myself a mini heart attack because I thought something was wrong with my motor, when in fact it's actually just my throwout bearing, which I know has been going bad for a while. Whew! Go ahead and take a look at this bad boy. Whew! I spent hours yesterday cleaning this thing up. I figured it looked so good on the inside, I might as well make it look good on the outside. So pressure washed the engine bay, cleaned everything up, put a little shine on it, and everything looks amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up. And don't mind the squeaking, because apparently my throwout bearing has taken more of a crap during this process. So yes, that very annoying squeaking is actually my throwout bearing in my transmission, which we're going to be getting here to here shortly. But there it is, everything all prettied up. So that's going to be it for this video. Valve cover gaskets. I'll probably add a comment in about a month or so about my oil in the spark plug holes and whether or not my new valve covers are leaking or anything like that. So stay tuned for that. Whew, I gotta shut this off, hold on. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And I can tell you that changing the spark plugs I think is really gonna help too, because it's definitely doing a lot more crackle and pops when I let go of the throttle. So the spark plugs were probably on their way out, the new ones are pumping, and we're gonna go give it some test strips here soon. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.